I got to do an update on this. We talked about this briefly before, but Blake Lively has now officially entered into litigation over the whole project that she was working on. And again, during the filming of It Ends With Us. Now, apparently during that, she's looking for unspecified damages, likely tied to these text messages that illustrated that she was being harassed on set. And on top of that, too, she's saying that Ryan Reynolds was actually attacked, too. And that's opposite from the other side. Now, she is saying that during this claim that she asked for Baldoni, the director, to be like to stop showing her nude photos and videos of images of women on. That's not good. Fireworks. That's not meant to be a thing. Stop mentioning horrible timing for the fireworks. Very nice. Also, to stop mentioning any kind of pornography on set. He's saying that he was addicted to it and talking to her about that, discussing his sexual experiences on set in front of her. Also mentioning her weight, and then on top of that, promoting or focusing on any kind of sexual scenes that she didn't want to be part of. No, she was saying that he kept adding all these different sexual experiences into the project without actually talking about, expanding stuff more and more. It was being very inappropriate on set. And even when the whole thing happened where she said that, well, here's the whole thing about the whole weight thing. Apparently she says that he was asking the stunt coordinator about how heavy she was because he has a bad back. And she said that he literally was saying like, oh, she's too big. She has to lose weight so that I can pick her up. And there's not even a scene in the movie where he picks her up, by the way. So that's weird. So that's one thing that's weird about the whole conversation. But on top of that, too, he's claiming that, well, first of all, she's not saying how much she wants to charge him for, but he's actually going after her for a defamation lawsuit for $250 million, saying she has ruined his name. These are all lies, and that she's twisted the facts in the text messages. She has both sides of the conversation, but she hasn't shown both sides, and that's all out of context. And on top of that, too, the Ryan Reynolds conversation. Blake Lively is Ryan Reynolds' wife. She was on Gossip Girl. She's been around for a long time, and now she's back in the news for this. But he was saying, too, that she's ruining his name, taking it down the gutter. And when she, this whole like weight thing came for, apparently Ryan Reynolds said, I want an apology. And he was saying, I never said that. And then they got into a heated argument. And he's saying this is A-list Hollywood coming after the B-listers who are kind of rising up, and that he's just trying to be, pushed down because he's not some big celebrity. But it sounds like if he's talking about this stuff on set to me, I knew this lawsuit was coming. And that's the thing. I know Tim's saying Blake sucks. And Ron said that before, too. A lot of people say that she's difficult and that she always argues and causes problems on set. I've heard that multiple time allegations for that. But there is the idea of like, is she pushing it? Is she not? Is this thing going to blow up bigger? Because, and it's honestly, the allegations were first like, I just want to put this out there. Then a lawsuit came. And now he's countersuing her. Is this going to be like a big thing that's going to change anything? Then the whole thing on set now too is of course intimacy coordinators, and they didn't have one right away, and they're joining SAG now, and we're trying to push for those on set for every set. Is that the solution to stop these things, or is this thing just a never-ending battle that people won't feel safe, or they can maybe put allegations forward that cause problems? I don't know, but I heard this and I'm like, part of me is like, I've heard bad things about her. I don't know if I believe this. And then I'm also like, well, then all these text messages, Allie, is this a whole thing that has to do with wait for more information? And are you shocked that a lawsuit has blown up in this way, in this situation?
This has been coming. This has totally been coming. Both of their PR teams have been at each other so hard. This isn't, for somebody who asked, is this a weird publicity stunt? It's not good timing for a publicity stunt. This should have happened like before the movie was out, as opposed to after, since.
It did really well, too.
Great for that. Yeah, the movie did all right. But I'm not sure that these aren't two.
The movie's getting a lot of notoriety now.
Well, yeah, like I think this might be two crummy people who both were kind of going after each other and didn't get along to begin with now, and it's just like gone further and further because they're PR teams and they were attacking each other publicly, and like it's just escalated.
And you see that too, right? You see people don't get along, right? Like this, it happens. Actors don't get along on set, and they can put their face on, but sometimes arguments happen. And it sounds like there is more rooted stuff here, Allie, that we're not hearing all the news, like what happened on set in the day. And even like SAG was like, no, SAG was standing up for a little bit, but they kind of backpedaled a little bit too. And then, it's a big lawsuit. It's a big defamation lawsuit. Now Ryan Reynolds is getting tied into it too. Everybody loves him.
Immediately. Yeah. Immediately. If anything, that's the biggest difficulty on this other guy. You're not just coming after a woman who's a star. You're coming after one of the most beloved people right now, his wife. So there's like a bit of, what did you think you were going to get from this? Do you really think you were in the right, and so you have to fight for this? Or like, do you think it'll help get you more attention? Like, and we don't know. And we may or may not ever figure that out.
Never know. This has been happening for a long time where people are like, it used to be like a little more comfortable on set. Do you think this is what it is? Because before it used to be people would say a lot of offensive things before. Ever since Harvey Weinstein, people have kind of cut back on that and they bite their tongue. Could it be something like that? Or do you think it really is just the personalities?
I'm inclined to think it's personalities, but again, like there's people on here jumping in with the kind of things that I've heard, which is like, hey, like if you have a whole crew that feels a certain way about somebody, maybe it's not for nothing.
Yeah, it might not be. They did finish the movie Count. It's actually over on Netflix right now, so you can watch it. And like I said, the numbers are going up, like Angela was saying. The numbers going up, Angela. So, of course, you work in marketing all the time and stuff. This can't be a big PR thing, right? There's got to be something more. I like what Allie is saying, too. It could be about just two personalities. Do you lean towards that? Or do you lean, like, I know the chat's saying other things. Do you lean towards the kind of the chat saying it's like maybe they're just like, it's like, we're trying to push this thing. We're trying to make this more popular right now. So that's kind of an idea to create some drama.
I do obviously PR, brand rep management and marketing, all that stuff. But like, this is not, just like Allie was saying, if this was going to be a PR stunt, it usually would happen before a product, before a movie, before anything gets released to get the eyeballs on it, right? And get money coming in. But she's had a difficult personality on sets. I know people that worked with her, and again, there's similar stories, but but at the same time, like if we're talking about like sexual harassment and like if this guy was talking about pornography or other things, like major lines were crossed there. And especially if there was already a tension maybe between them, or if he was trying to kind of like just instigate with her a little bit, then obviously bad move on his behalf. But like, again, wasn't there. I don't know. Other than what we're kind of like hearing between, all this stuff back and forth. But I number one, like, I think Blake Lively looked great in the movie. I don't like, her body looked wonderful. She's had kids, all that stuff. And she looks fabulous. So I don't know about his whole back situation. He looked pretty fit to me. So it looked like the guy could lift a frickin' brick house, if you ask me. I don't know. Cheap shots get thrown at each other, right? When people are pissed off at one another, and like if they didn't get along, and he's trying to say, "Oh, you're trying to keep the unknown guy down" or something. I don't really think that would be her aim. If the guy was really a POS, it just doesn't make sense. I don't think other things have happened between actors and stuff, but something obviously definitely wrong occurred here, and that's why this is all ensuing. And yes, Ryan Reynolds, I've known and met him. He's going to have his woman's back. You know what I mean? Like, always, for better or for worse. He's going to be standing by her side. But yeah, if this guy went too far, it's okay to also be like, hey, I fucked up or something, just if that did happen, versus like allowing it to become a sparring match. And then it turns into this like really long and honestly, this is going to end with one of them. It definitely is both of them, but one of them is going to be probably maybe paying a price. I don't really know. It depends on what a judge thinks, if this is even worth it or if they think it's ridiculous. So
yeah, and then she hasn't even said how much she's looking for in the lawsuit, but he has put the 250 out there, million. But I think again,
his team also could have been like, we need to we need to get this in before she does too. So I know that happens very often. I've been a part of scenarios and teams and where we've had to basically do things like that. You want to beat the other person to it because for some reason it'll seem like there's some maybe more validity to it, or he went after her first, so she must. You know what I mean? There's just a way that how it looks to the public, public image and perception if you go after and do something first. So I don't know. it's ugly for sure. It's messy, it's ugly, but at the end of the day, I mean, the proof is in what you can substantiate. So if it's there, then
those text messages
know what to do.
We're text messages. I mean, he's releasing some, she's released some, and they're saying back and forth like, "Oh, you're not getting the whole story." The more and more we talk about this, the more and more I think, this is kind of like just too bad. It's two people hating to work with each other,
But don't you think? I mean, I'm just going to say, if you're talking about anything pornographic, I mean, I don't care what your audience is. Do not talk about anything like sexual or anything when you're on set with people. I don't care how comfortable you think you might have gotten with them over the course of a few days or whatever the situation is. Just keep that shit to yourself. Like, don't talk about any of that stuff. Like, so this stuff doesn't happen, I mean, these are conversations you have to have.
A step too far. Like, why would you ever mention that stuff? And like, what your preferences are and what you're looking for, like with that actor. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. It looks like you're just.
There's no relevancy to anything that they're doing. Like, there's a movie, there's a script. You follow it. If you've got a back problem, you talk about it. You don't need to I mean, sure. I don't know. Like, I think the weight thing is a little. I mean, she's fine. Like, everyone's going to be okay. If they have to lift her up, unless he had serious, a C bracket injury or something in his thoracic spine, I think he's going to be okay.
I still haven't seen the movie where she's actually being lifted up either. So that's like a whole thing that he's saying. It's interesting. Maybe.
Well, he put her on the counter. There was a counter. I think there was a scene where he lifted her on the counter, and then he put her on the thing. So he did move her around, unless they had somebody else doing it. That I don't know, but. Yeah, I mean, it looked like him, but
a person or a body double.
Yeah, or one of those. But I mean, I'm pretty sure it was him. But I mean, So I don't know. I don't know. There's just and again, I haven't seen all the evidence. So
get along.
Yes. Well, they didn't get along.
Can't get along, and now it's going to be in the courts, and they're going to bicker for a little while, and then it'll go away.
You think so?
Yeah, somebody will settle.
They'll settle it. It'll never. Because you got two people suing each other for saying complete opposites. They're both putting out, as you said, Brian, texts.
Yeah.
From alleged cast members. I mean, judges are basically going to say, "What the hell's going on here, kids?"
Yeah.
Get a grip.
Like, get a grip, Hollywood.
Right. Could be just get it together. They might not want to see this in a trial situation, which I don't think it would go to that. I think it's just they're both putting up their dukes, and they're putting up their dukes, and they're seeing which one's going to hit first, and then it's sort of let's just figure out how we can settle this matter and move on. I mean. They all have way too much going on in life to sit here and be peddling around with this. I mean, yes, if somebody is being inappropriate and saying messed up things on set to others and what have you, that needs to get addressed. But but also at the same time, let's get it over with and move on and learn a lesson.
Yeah. So we have a little bit more stuff popping out. We'll see. Val, what do you think about this situation? Are you even a fan of Blake Lively at all? Did you see this movie? And do you think this is, again, just like actors maybe having an inner working fight that you're like, who cares about this? How do you feel about this, Val?
This whole thing, over the past couple months, it's just watching her, because I feel like Blake Lively was very beloved. I don't want to say she's not anymore, but watching all of her old interviews resurface of just that one specifically where she was obviously very rude to the woman who was congratulated her on her pregnancy. I don't know if you saw that.
I haven't seen that one. I have to check that out.
I haven't seen it either.
I haven't seen it. Yeah.
It's essentially the interviewer is super nice, and Blake Lively's pregnant, and she's like, "Congratulations on your little bump," and Blake Lively's like, "Congratulations on your little bump," and it just gets really, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's
that was on Facebook and YouTube here, even Brian.
Oh, really? I did hear. Now you said that, I think I did hear about this. Someone's just trying. That's a hard thing to talk about too. I know, like, there's one thing as a guy, I'm like, just don't talk about that. Just don't talk about that, But she did react. She overreacted maybe too. You're an actor. You're making jokes sometimes. You gotta maybe.
And she was pregnant. It wasn't like post pregnancy or not pregnant. Like she was actually pregnant.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, as far as pregnant. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It was well.
I could see someone getting defensive more if it was like they weren't pregnant and they were like, somebody was assuming you were. That to anybody, like I've been interviewed and you're like, no, like it's just a little tiny bump. It's not, but like, yeah, I could see someone getting like a little bit pissed about that, but yeah.
Yeah. There's. Sorry.
Val, it didn't seem like she was being like a sense of humor thing though, did it?
No. It was like, no. It was, like throughout the interview, she continues to kind of do like this. It's her and her co-star from something else. And it's really weird. They do like this mean girl thing to the interviewer where it's like the two of them just keep talking and ignoring the interviewer. And it's really awkward. It's very awkward. Yeah. Very uncomfortable to watch. And so like a lot of moments like that have been resurfacing of her, and like I've seen a bunch of them on TikTok and things like that. And then this comes out and I saw one person said something along the lines of, even though she may be not the nicest person, it still doesn't justify these things happening to her on set, that type of thing.
Yeah, it doesn't. It never does justify. Again, like Angela was saying too, like we're saying, like if there's talking about, any kind of adult entertainment and you're asking them what they like about it, that's weird. I mean, that's just crossing a lot of barriers that you shouldn't be even thinking about. I mean, that's just weird to me. I just don't understand that. But I guess we're going to have to see the full text chain with all this too, because I keep hearing more and more.
Maybe he thought she was being bitchy, and maybe he was kind of like just to sort of like nudge, you know what I mean? Just to do something to kind of like startle her, push, and maybe for shock value, he might have like thrown. I could see something like that, like sparring a little in that way of being like, oh, Blake, to make her uncomfortable. Yeah, if like she was being bitchy or something, I could see that scenario being possible. Yeah, which is not good, but yeah.
What's that, Brian?
Do you believe that at all, GR?
It's possible, but I really don't give a shit. I think both of them are idiots. if he's bringing up pornography on set, he's an idiot, and he has no business being a director. And
I know
if she's putting up with it and not, if he did that to me, well, if I was in her shoes, I'd have said "fuck you" and walked off the set.
Yeah. Which, some people would do that too. I mean, honestly, a lot of people would. I don't know why you put up with something like that too, which makes it weird. Makes it weird if you're putting up with that long. Like, what's happening, Because you easily can walk away.
I think Allie would just punch his lights out.
Allie, could she have just walked away, you think?
I mean, that's the same kind of complicated we're talking about with the other stuff, right? Like a lot of people start doing weird things on set or start speaking strangely. And some people have the kind of boundaries to walk away when somebody does something strange or out of place or that it is inappropriate. Many artists do not and will try to, put off whatever that awkward thing is and say, well, like maybe they didn't mean it that way or whatever. So it's really hard to tell unless you have people who like witnessed the extent of it.
Yeah.
Because you're making a stupid amount of money on a movie, and if you walk away, this movie stops or you guys have to reshoot and stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying that people should tolerate certain kinds of behavior because there's money on the line, but they certainly do.
Mm-hmm. Happens all the time. People don't walk away. People stay there. They just put up with it. Happens all the time. Hence why, even though there were allegations and proven wrong, Kevin Spacey. That's all I'm saying. Look at the Rust conversations we had too. There's a lot of stuff in the news recently about like problems on set that have happened, and we just kind of watch people put up with it and they just accept it and they just take their paycheck and walk away and maybe complain about it later. I just hope that if this is something that he was saying that stuff, then he shouldn't have a place in Hollywood. He just shouldn't. He's like, if you're a young guy coming in here and you're like doing this kind of stuff and not being professional, probably not the place for you. But if it does come down that she's kind of stirring a ruckus for no reason, and it's kind of like at this point, we've burst through and now we know that this is who she is, then we should probably get her to suffer a little bit. I'm not suffer, but maybe just learn from this experience a little bit. Learn from it, overall. Because at the end of the day, we got to be safe on set. We got to be comfortable. We got to be happy. We got to have a good time. We're giving up so much time, I say it all the time, from our loved ones and our family just to be there and experience this and be a part of this joyous experience. It's supposed to be, we're literally like a traveling circus, that we shouldn't be uncomfortable. Should be happy. Come on, GR, be happy. And we'll find out where this goes, though, because this lawsuit's not done yet. It's not done yet, but maybe it'll peter away very soon. We'll see.
Yo, player, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we are live. And if you are able to join our Patreon, please join. Because the Pepestar needs more snickety snacks. Because I'm hungry. Holla back. Love y'all.